Welcome back to another episode. I'm your host, Tamera. Today, we're going to have another episode in my Participate in Life Together series. I've got some fabulous women here today to talk about the pressures of continuing to compete in business. But first, if you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to talk to you about your title needs. You can find me on any of my social media platforms, and I'd love to get a conversation going with you. I have two guests that have been on my show before. Well, actually, this is Kimberly's third. Is this your third appearance on my show? And so I wanted to bring them back because we did a podcast recording together maybe about a month and a half ago. And it was a really great conversation. I'm still laughing over know your why and not your wine. And so I wanted to bring them back because I wanted to continue our conversation today. And so Kimberly Woodard, she is a realtor with Ebby, Halliday. I also have with me Lisa Elliot, who is a realtor with the Hershenberg Group out at Keller Williams, South Lake. So thank you for coming back, ladies.
Well, thank you for having us.
So excited to see you guys, and I'm really excited about our conversation today. So, and we've actually kind of already did a pre-podcast. We've been recording the whole time.
Go back. I know. Can you rewind that? Did you get those sound checks?
So let's go ahead and kick it off. I pulled is an article from Forbes, and it's 8 major challenges women face in business. And so I kind of listed those out on our pre-production notes. I'll run through them real quick. We can kind of circle back to them, but limited funding, balancing responsibilities, fear of failure, inadequate support system, gender inequality, unfavorable business environment, and owning your accomplishments were the ones that they listed out.
Right.
Thought those were really, really interesting talking points. And I find when I was reading all of the explanation under each one that I feel like there's at least a little bit of difference between corporate America and being a realtor, because I feel like the real estate business is predominantly driven by women and always has been.
Right.
So kind of we can go back and address these little mini topics, but just kind of knowing the landscape of this particular setting, how do you feel these compare to your life in real estate versus maybe a job that you've had before?
I think they do relate. It's just how they relate, with, maybe you have some different dynamics in, maybe your corporate world versus in now the real estate, which is you're not dealing with maybe corporate America, you're dealing with your own small business and running your own small business. But a lot of those just fit in, but just different ways of challenges and overcoming them.
Okay. Lisa, do you have any thoughts about that? Just kind of real estate versus corporate America and how these relate?
I agree. I think that anybody can take this list, because anywhere you are, you're going to face a lot of these, no matter who you are, what business you're in, whether you're a man or a woman. For us, like you said, as a realtor, we're so different because we're not with someone every single day. And we can change our environment. And if we don't like that situation, we're able to change that. Mm-hmm. Where in corporate America, you're really not. And if you don't like it, then you can move on.
And I agree with that.
Fire that person.
I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of both of those because I do work for a very large corporation, but I'm also in real estate, right? And I've worked for small businesses. I've worked for nationwide companies. And so I feel like, and that is the answer, is in this, at least in the smaller businesses that I worked for, if I didn't feel like there was an opportunity to grow, the choice was to leave, right? Or to change. It was to leave, right? I haven't felt that being at Lawyers. I feel like if there was an opportunity that I wanted, the door would be open to have that conversation. Yeah. But I love what I do, so I'm staying put, right? But
we're glad to hear that.
So, but I can understand some of these topic discussions just from my past experiences, right? And I think let's take the first one, for example, limited funding. I feel like that's a challenge in any real estate business, especially when you're starting, is funding your business because, as you mentioned, you are the CEO of your own small business within that brokerage.
Right. And I think a lot of people don't realize that. Twofold, people getting into the business don't realize it. And people that are watching us from the outside don't realize that we are actually, we're running our own business. So we pay for everything,
Mm-hmm.
Whatever, it is, it's coming out of our pockets, not our broker's pockets. And so, as say starting out, you may, you get overwhelmed with all these different things that are out there and you want to participate, but you could go broke.
You can go broke.
You can. Yes, you can.
So
All
you
the
have to
shiny objects.
So you have to, prioritize what you're going to do. And, I will say every year I look at my, my marketing expenses and what I'm going to do this year. Maybe I'm going to take less, some stuff out of this pocket because I want to flourish another pocket. Or was that pocket not doing as well? And let's take those funds and apply them to something else.
Mm-hmm.
So
I think it's super smart. I think that's what you have to do. And look, we call it pivoting,
Right, yeah,
right? It's something isn't working anymore. The market changes, or
Yes.
your interests change, or where you're getting your business from, because you're a sphere-based realtor. You have a mix of business.
We do a mix.
Yeah.
We do a mix. I'm personally heavy on my sphere, but we do have a lot of leads that I'm able to, work and convert, and the team leads and all the things that we have. So I feel like I'm sitting pretty. I have a great team. I have a great team lead. Michael's very generous with our team and marketing, but he also allows me to market to my sphere also.
Yeah.
I do a lot of things that I pay for, my pop buys, some of my gifts, some, things that I do, birthday gifts, baby gifts, those kind of things.
So, and that is a difference between you two, is that you're on a team and you're an individual producer, right?
Mhm.
So the everything is on your front doorstep, Kimberly.
You're it, girl. It's me, myself, and I. So you should say that.
And it was interesting. We were on a listing appointment and we were talking about the things that we wanted to do for this this listing and for this property. And the gentleman said, "Okay, well, do your vendors pay for that?" And we're like, "No, we pay for that."
Right.
So to your point, a lot of people do think, "Oh, well, they have sponsors and they have this," and it's like, nope, it's the commission goes back into the business.
Well, and I don't want to go down the commission conversation, but I do feel like for you guys, I get frustrated when people ask you to discount your services. I'm not a fan of that. I have never in any of my real estate transactions, even though I'm in the business, asked anyone to discount their services. So you guys earn your money.
No,
That's another topic for
Yeah, that's a
whole nother thing. And that's a bottle of wine.
I don't want to spend a lot of time on the next one, balancing responsibilities, because I feel like the whole podcast that we did last time was basically about prioritizing your time, work-life balance, balancing responsibilities. But I do like fear of failure. How do we feel about fear of failure?
Well, no one wants to fail. And so I think that's always, and as a female, you're always wanting to do everything right. We're like nurturers, maybe, whether you're a mom and, you just have that nurturing feeling, though I will say probably I'm not the best nurturer.
I'm surprised by that statement, Kimberly.
I am, but I'm not I'm just not that over, I guess I'm not all, lovey, that kind of, but I do everything. Like I'm one of those that I want to do it all. I want to make sure everyone's happy. I want to make sure, everyone's taken care of. I'm always, thinking of other people, I'm always, I'm a big person. A lot of my friends will say, you are the card person. Like I love sending cards, I'll send cards just because, whether, there's something that's happened in someone's life, or just because I know, someone's going through something, and just to tell them, hey, someone's thinking of you. So that's kind of, I do it in a different way than maybe that, outside lovey, nurture.
Well, you have control over your emotions.
Yes,
I think.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I'm not. I
Did you literally look at me and
There's a
start
reason
laughing?
why I looked at you, and I'm going to say this out loud, Amity. Do not micro-content this piece that I'm about to talk about. But there is a certain individual that you're doing a transaction with right now that does not have control over her emotions,
yes.
and so I was in my first appointment with her, and she cried.
Oh no!
Yeah,
no.
oh no!
It's all about the poker face.
Wait a minute! Wait a minute! Why are you crying?
Be the duck.
I think sometimes people, and I've learned this, as growing up, and I also say, I kind of grew up, in the real estate business as my it was, I was one of those young agents, that started, as a young, so as I've now 22 years, admitted, now showing my age.
You look fabulous, by the way.
Thank you. I started when I was 5. Just kidding. No.
I was a hell of a lot skinnier when I started. Okay, let's put it that way.
But your like temperaments and things like that. I've learned as I've gotten older that sometimes I just need that 5 minutes. Don't just rebuttal right then. I need that 5 minutes. Take a deep breath, and then it's then do what you need to do.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the wisest thing is not to respond if it's going to be the
24-hour rule.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. I see
rule.
something disturbing, and I'm like, yeah, I'll come back to that. Because you have to. Okay.
How you respond right then will be different than how you'll respond maybe 24 hours from now.
And depending on what you have going on in the rest of your day, your mindset has to stay on point.
Yep.
And things that derail that mindset, you have to become an expert at pushing that stuff into the back of your brain, carrying on with your day, taking the time you need to respond so you can respond correctly. It's a balancing act with upsetting news or whatever, however you want to categorize it.
Right. You have to go, okay, well, this is where we are. We can't do anything about what happened then, but what are we going to do now? So I've got this disturbing email. What am I going to do? How am I going to handle it? I'm just going to sit on it. I'm going to seek counsel and find out, okay, what I need to do. How do I need to handle this? And then I always tell my clients, and I try to take it for myself, that take the emotion out of it. Yep. Okay, this is business. We're going to take the emotion out of it, and then we're going to function this way. Where you may want to respond, well, that little cat on that cat meme where you just type in like crazy. Instead of that, it's like, okay, how am I going to respond? Keep my witness, so to speak, be professional, and handle this situation the best way that we can. Mm-hmm. Be the duck. Mm-hmm. I'm swimming under, I'm paddling.
I was like, be the duck. Explain.
Be the duck. Be on the top.
Everything looks calm and happy.
The duck is just going along. And the bottom is little feet are just like paddle.
Got it.
And just keep going.
Well, let's go back to fear of failure. I will say this. When I started at Lawyers, I was concerned about being successful when I came on board. I didn't know anything about being a title rep, right? I wasn't as concerned about that when I went to Nations. I felt like I could for whatever reason, the home warranty gig was, doable, but I felt a lot of pressure when I came on board to Lawyers, both within myself and from the current sales manager. I inherited a database of clients, so there was a lot of pressure to keep those clients. Right. And I felt like title was a far more competitive world, which it is. And so that pressure that I felt to be successful, now obviously it turned out okay.
It's still working for you.
It's still working. So it turned out to be okay. But it was a period of time of about almost a year where it was like, is this going to work? Because when I left Arch and went to Nations, I took a lot of my clients with me. Yeah. They followed me to Nations because there weren't a lot of good home warranty reps, right? And then when I went to title, they were like, oh, I've got my people. I've been closing with this escrow officer for 20 years or whatever it was. And I couldn't transfer that relationship to Lawyers. I had a few that followed me, and I'm so thankful for them. Actually, you were one of them. And so very thankful for you. And so I think that was it was the pressure of like, can I make this successful? Because it is a very competitive industry and there's a lot of really good
There's
title teams out there.
Yeah.
Well, and I think in our business, when it's like every year. I mean, because every year is a clean slate. So we are basically, end of December. So then January 1, and I really, December, I start getting,
Anxiety about it.
I'm like, oh my gosh, and now that, it's everything's a clean slate again, and basically if you think about it, everyone is back at ground zero.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're, is this year going to be a good year for me or is it going to be a bad year? So it's like, it just happens every year in our business.
Well, and to clarify, so you guys usually have your if this used to be the way Ebby did things, you had your one-on-ones in like October and November.
Yeah.
They set your plateau for the next year, right? If you made your goals for the year, whatever you stayed at your current plateau, went up or went down, depending on your production. So by the first of the year, that's already been set up for you guys, right? So what the expectations are for performance for you to keep your plateau structure.
Right. And I just think, again, you're starting back to, you're at ground zero again, come January 1. So I always laugh because we always do awards for the year, for, 2022 awards. We're doing these, we get them in March and I'm like, I'm already in, first quarter.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm like, whatever. I was like, I don't really care what happens.
I got to go.
Our president was laughing. He goes, I understand it. I was like, it's almost end of first quarter now.
Well, honey, we found out last year in August who the top, I knew that I had made top producer at Lawyers, but Fidelity announces the nationwide stats,
right.
And they didn't announce it until August. And I'm like, really, nobody cares.
Yeah, you're like, I'm already way into, already almost into fourth quarter.
But and tell me if you felt this as far as pressure for the new year. Like we obviously had a major change in the market.
Right.
The last 6 months of last year, right?
Yeah.
It was a major change in the market.
Yes.
And so I had a lot of conversations. We talked about this a little bit yesterday, was that how are you feeling about your first quarter pipeline, or like your first quarter of 2023 and your pipeline for the rest of the year? I was sitting next to a realtor. I'm not going to name her because I want to keep her privacy, but she had a conversation with me about, I'm struggling. I have nothing in my pipeline. And I was sitting across the table from a gentleman who had literally said, it just popped for me. Like we now finally have 5 listings. You're doing really well. You have like 8 listings right now.
Well, it's, I say it's consistency. And you just keep doing what you've been doing. And here's the other thing is, even when you're busy, consistency. Do you keep doing the same things? And sometimes, yes, in our marketing, we're renovating our marketing to different, to more social media, more this, more that, but keep in front of everyone. And, then that's the consistency you want to be. And I think so many of us get busy and we lose our contacts with everyone. And then things go dry because they're like, oh, are you still in the business? Because
they're working in your business, not on your business.
Correct.
You guys are machines. I mean, you have tons of stuff going on all the time. So,
but it's still okay. Where's the next one? I've
you're
got
always
2 closings tomorrow, and a couple just coming on the market now. But then you're thinking, okay, what do I have in May? What do I have this coming up? And I think it's what you said. I think fear of failure for me is very much a thing, and I have to combat that quite a bit because you want to be the good mother. I don't want to fail my kids. I always joked and said, okay, I'm just going to make sure you guys have a good job so that when you get older, you can have counseling for the things that we failed you in. But
I was like, is she saying what I think she's saying right now?
They're all great kids. They're all fine. But it is. And then this job too, being older and getting into it I do kind of have an advantage sometimes. People don't realize, yes, I look older, but I have not been in the business that long. So I sometimes have to fake it till I make it because they think I may have been in the business for longer than what I have.
Sure.
But then if you fail, you learn from it. Okay, what did I learn from this? How can I do this better? How can I own up to this? Did I miss this box on the contract? You know what? I did. Okay, if I have to eat that survey, then I'll eat that survey. But I think if you do fail, it's not a failure if you don't learn from it. If you learn from it and grow from it and be better from it, then let's move on.
I love that. Okay. So the next one, there's a couple I'm going to skip over because, like I said, I feel like we covered these in the last podcast. Inadequate support system. We talked a lot about support systems the last one. Gender inequality. I don't really feel like that's a thing in real estate. That's a more corporate America thing. Unfavorable business environment. I had to look at this one more than once. Among the challenges that women experience are less established business networks and social and traditional constraints that restrict women's participation in business. But I don't think that's applicable in real estate because this is all a relationship business, and we kill it. Women kill it at building relationships.
Well, and I think there are more and more women groups forming, women groups in real estate. I say that. Forming to support women, and it's not excluding anybody. It's just different. You are so fierce, and we're so many fierce realtors out there, women that are like, man, I want to learn from you. Can I drive you around and just listen to your conversation during the day? Yeah. That kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. I think women, and especially in this industry, I think there was an old mentality where it was like, I have a secret and proprietary information, I'm not going to share it. But I think that culture is going away more and more and more.
Agreed.
Keller Williams was really big. Their culture has always been very big about sharing. And I think that the younger generations that are coming in are much more apt to sharing. Look at us right now.
Right.
We're sharing, right?
No, and I think it's fantastic. I've always told agents coming in that, talk to how I developed my whole business practice is I went around and, shadowed people and, just learned different ways. And then I was able to take things that I liked that I felt were things that I wanted to adapt into my business and be able to form my own, way of doing things. So.
What about owning your accomplishments? We kind of chatted about that I told you guys, I have a hard time being a braggosaurus. If I post once a year, whatever Fidelity and lawyers recognizes me with, wherever I made it in the year. But other than that,
I think it's, and we kind of talked about this off radio, but as women growing up, we were, back in the day, women that didn't work from home. They always tutored their, they were married, they tutored their spouse, they they wanted them to be all the accomplishments. And so I think, as we're raised, it's maybe now more generations ahead because we're raising our kids to own their accomplishments. But I think it is hard. I am very bad about, tooting my horn. Now, if you get me riled up, I will toot my horn.
I want to see what that looks like.
If someone says, says something, contradicts something, I'm like, well, like today I was on the phone with this appraiser and he's trying to give me an education lesson. And I go, let's just back up. And because I could tell he was like, well, my mother-in-law has been in the business for 22 years and blah, blah. He's trying to give me an education and appraisal. I go, let's just back up. I am fully aware how an appraisal is done. And I've been doing this for 22 years. He goes, oh, I'm sorry. I go, no, and then our conversation went in a different direction. It went to positive, but I was like, I don't need an education lesson. But here's how the market, I understand, the house may not, appraise for, $35,000 over the list price. But it should appraise for at least somewhere in the range where I priced it. But what's happened in our market, I showed you the demands. So you could put on your appraisal and have that adjustment that regardless, I was like, because this will now be the new benchmark for that neighborhood, when that one sells. Because, the demand for it, you can see people evidently were bidding this house up because they really wanted it. And we have such low supply. So again, I guess I got off.
But I think what you're saying is you set yourself up as an expert to that person.
Correct.
Like you let them know I'm not brand new here. I know what I'm talking about. Right. And so kind of doing that posture move changed that.
It changed the direction, because the conversation could have kept going down the hole, but it went to a positive.
Right.
So
what is it? Don't mistake my kindness for weakness.
Yes.
Yeah. We can be kind and talk and everything, but at some point in time, things may have to change. Just like what you said. It's like, like you said, I'm sorry, I'm well aware of what that is. Thank you so much. Yep. However, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
How are we going to change this? And what do we need to do to fix this?
Correct. Well, I've always
assert yourself.
I've always been told, I look really sweet, but then I'm like a shark. I always think that's a compliment. I was that from an attorney. I was like, that's a compliment.
That is a compliment, because people don't see you coming. They see me coming a mile away. I'm 6'3" in my heels.
I think one of my nicknames
I'm always like, oh, she's
Elliot.
so sweet. And then they're like, oh, roll her up. Oh, gosh. We want her on our side.
Bulldog Elliot is what my husband calls me, and Michael, my boss.
So, I want to kind of, I wanted this, I was hoping this was going to be a bigger part of the conversation, but it turned into a topic discussion. Do you feel women should dress a certain way in business?
So I feel like, now you're probably talking to you.
Yeah.
I love to dress. And I dress for, how I feel. But just depending, I always feel like, but you should always, dress for what you want. So if you want that, listing, dress, powerful, dress in that, powerful, that red, that bold color that you're going to, take charge and, get that listing. Maybe you're going out and you're showing, 15 homes and, we're coming up to the summertime, I'm not, you want to dress comfortable. So like dress comfortable, but dress in a professional manner that you're taking, serious up. Now I will say I have, yes, I have shown homes in my tennis clothes, but my clients are fully aware, because I'm like, I will be happy, but I'm coming off the tennis court and I'll meet you there in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And they're like, sure. They're like, I don't care what you have.
I just want to see the house.
I just want to see the house. But in general, I think, you do want to have that, professional take, dress for
and I use that saying all the time. I dress for the business I want, not the business I have, right?
Yeah.
But I kind of feel like that statement should be modified a little bit. I want to dress for all the business.
It depends on what you're doing. Just like what you said, Kimberly. It depends on if you're showing houses, if you're going to list an appointment, if you're going to a function, if you're going to network. There's so many different avenues of our job, and so many. Like today, I was like, oh my gosh, what do I wear? Do I go buy something new? And then I was like, no, listen, just wear something in your closet. But because it's like, okay, I've had pictures in this before. That's going to change. But because people, they like beautiful shoes. You buy a pair of beautiful shoes and then you wear them. People go, oh my gosh, those are so great. Well, then you can't wear them every day because they're beautiful. And people go, oh, she wore those last time. And not that matters.
Well,
but
too, because of social media and we're always being photographed. And you do have to remember, what did I wear? I got to rotate.
Yeah, for sure.
So I'm always like, okay, what did I wear? Did I wear that already on that camera? That picture? Oh, let me.
I don't know. I have like 12 of the same dress in different colors.
I do that with pants. I do that with pants and dresses.
We talked
about this earlier. I know a certain brand this size, a certain brand this size, and I know that, okay, this works for me. And so why not have several? Same thing with pants, dress pants. I know this size, I know this brand. It works for me. I can go and pick them up. I can order them online, and it's all good.
Oh, I do have a lot of the sheath dresses, and I have every color, every different style, every and they're more my kind of my more business. That's what I like to wear. I'm a big dress person. Barely if I'm wearing pants, it's usually jeans. But every winter, summer, I'm in dresses. That's just me. So
I'm a big dress person too. Well, and I always wear a sheath dress and heels when I have business opportunities, right? Yeah. I mean, I have a lot of Western clothes, and I've acquired a lot of upscale Western clothes. And I feel like since we're in, Texas.
Yeah, you get away. Yeah.
So I wear that a lot more in the wintertime. And I feel like it's a lot more acceptable, to me. But in the summertime, it's sheath dresses and heels. It's just the easier thing. Last question before we wrap up. And I want to tell y'all a funny story that happened to me yesterday. And I'm an open book when it comes to stuff like this. So I'll tell you, if you guys want to know what I do, then I will be more than happy to tell you. But do you guys feel pressure to stay looking? I don't like the word young. What word did I come up with before? It was
current.
Yes. Yes.
I think everyone does. I think, I don't think it's just a female thing. I think it's also a male thing. I think everyone wants to be young. No one wants to get old. I mean, gosh, no one likes to say their age. No one, but nowadays I feel, your age is just a number because people, and it's probably because, life, people are staying, are living longer and everything like that. So I do feel, you do want to stay current. I mean, I'm all about my vitamins, my creams, and you go to my bathroom and you'll see all these vitamins and all these creams. I have vitamin. I have my morning, my afternoon, and my evening. Just like I have my morning regiments and my evening regiments on my skin. So,
I mean, I go a step further. I'm all about the face, you got to get the facials and, the Botox, and I'm even doing, I'm like, freeze it from here up. I just lock it down. But I went and got a facial yesterday afternoon. And so it was hydrating facial. And so I'm laying there, and she's like, as she's pouring it, she says, I'm going to try a new mask on you. And the mask literally covers my entire face, including my eyes and my lips. Yes, make that face.
Oh, God. Oh, wow.
And I was like, it was a liquid. And because usually they brush on the clay mask or whatever. And it was, I have never had an experience where I imagined myself as a fly caught in a spider web.
Get me out. Oh, my gosh.
But I'm like, you can't help but want to blink, but you better not, because there's this liquid covering your eyes. And so and then it hardens into like a jelly kind of thing, like a gel kind of thing. And so my eye, and then she did this light treatment. They like that light treatment. I have very blue eyes, and they are very sensitive to light and sun. You won't catch me outside without sunglasses. My eyes will literally start watering. So I'm not a huge fan of the light treatment because this is blaring. It's like someone sticking a flashlight on your face. Wow. And so I'm sitting there, and I can't blink. I can't move my lips. I can breathe out of my nose. My eyes are flickering, and they're almost starting to water, and I'm just like trapped. Oh my gosh. And I'm just like, and so my eyelashes are trying to, because my eyes are flickering because of the light and my eyelashes. So I now know what it feels like to be a fly in a spider web.
Oh my gosh.
And so I'm not sure that was my favorite thing I've ever done.
Would you do it again?
No.
I
don't see that. Look, you're going to have to really sell me on the benefits of this particular mask to get me to want to do that. It was just uncomfortable. It wasn't like I was in pain or anything, but I just didn't like the inability to move like that. Right. I don't know. I mean, and I've done a lot of stuff. I mean, I've tried a lot of things to keep looking fresh and keep looking young. And, I don't know that I feel insecure about aging. I mean, I own my age, but I think it's more of I just don't like the way it looks.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the best way to put it.
And it is hard. I mean, you do want to stay current. I want to stay current for me, for my husband, for my business. But like with so many things that we talked about is, okay, how do you do that? Clothing. We talked about this earlier, trying to find clothing that we are not looking like, I don't look like my daughters. My daughters dress amazing, but they're also, a lot younger than me. You're talking about your son and his friends. And so looking at trying to find that and having the time to go get it. We all talked about, we don't like to try the clothes on. I hate doing that.
Yep.
But yet still trying to be trim and trying to, have the creams, take the vitamins, eat right, get your hair done, get your nails done if that's what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
But stay relevant, and then learning what is relevant and what is current,
Well, I have a 19-year-old niece at A&M, so I get to see on a regular basis what is current for them, and that is not current for me, okay?
My daughters.
Every time I take her shopping, it's like the teeniest little crop tops and the teeniest, I'm like, you go, girl, I did that stuff when I was 19 too. So if I go down to A&M, I look around the campus, and if there's anything I have in common with anyone that age, it gets burned immediately.
I was going to say friend or a mirror. Everybody needs a friend or a mirror to what you're
and I
wearing.
said sometimes we need both.
You need both. For sure. Definitely.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap up for today, don't you think, ladies?
It's awesome.
Well, thank you so much
Thank
for
y'all.
joining me again. I really love our conversations. I'm going to ask you guys to keep coming
I
back
love it.
periodically.
Yeah,
So
sure.
if you're happy to be
Yeah.
my guest, I'm happy to have you guys back on because I love this segment of our conversation.
Yeah,
Enjoy it.
So thank you again for joining us on another episode. Again, I'm your host, Tamera Gady. If you like my content, you're really going to love my escrow team. So give me an opportunity to talk to you about your title needs and make it a great day.